Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? 2A family, it's your guy, Mr. 945. You know what time it is. Coming back at y'all with another one. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know what to do. But today I'm curious. What do you all wish you would have known before you got into your hobby of guns, gun collecting, the 2A journey, all of that? So that's kind of what I wanted to talk with y'all about. I got a couple of eye candy pieces here on the workbench, but this is a AR that I put together. What is it? PSA lower, Bear Creek Arsenal upper, and yeah, so I just tricked it out. So, but other than that, and then this is also my favorite gun in my collection. This is my Arex Alpha competition gun. It kind of, I think in past videos I said it's kind of like a CZ Shadow, but maybe like if CZ Shadow and the SIG P226 X5 Legion, probably more so on the line of the X5 Legion. Kind of like that, right? All steel, all metal, or whatever. But anyway, besides the point, both of these are clear, by the way. But the point that the question that I wanted to pose out to you all, and I'll share my thoughts as well, but what are some things that you guys wish you would have known before getting into your 2A journey? I was kind of debating on even doing this video as a topic because there is so much. But for me, a few things. So this caveat: one, I'm not editing anything. I don't edit my videos. I just kind of go straight off the top of my head. Two, this is probably gonna be a longer video than I'm used to, or than I normally do. So heads up. First thing, this shit is addictive as hell. I got into the 2A journey, oh man, maybe about 8-9 years ago, whatever. And my whole thing was really just, I wanted a gun for home defense, right? And I wanted to get something that was, something that both my wife and I could shoot. So I ended up getting something mainly for her, and then I got something for me, and then it just snowballed out of control, right? So I ain't gonna say how many. I honestly don't even know how many guns I have, right? I do not know how many firearms I have right now today. It's a lot, but I don't know how many I have. But again, it is addictive. Number one. Number two, the shit is expensive. Man, I mean, for those new getting into like guns in general, and then, embarking upon like collecting and, trying to make sure, your guns have a specific role or what have you, because they are tools and all of that, it can get very expensive. So for those getting started, do not go into debt. Budget, right? Set aside extra money from a paycheck, all of that, and then utilize that towards it, or get a second job or whatever. Do not go into debt. That's something that I constantly hear from a lot of content creators, a lot of folks, at the gun range, at the gun stores or whatever. Guns, they're addictive, and with an addictive hobby, it can get expensive very, very fast. So don't always try to keep up with the latest and greatest, right? Because usually most times that new stuff comes across, as the first batch. Wait for the second gen, or wait till they work the kinks out, or wait till, you see a lot of the reviews on there, all of that type of stuff. So just some tips. Third, kind of piggybacking on the whole piece of it's expensive, don't go into debt. Budget guns aren't bad either. A lot of times you'll hear, yeah, you get what you pay for. Oh, Taurus sucks because they're a budget brand, or Turkish guns suck because they, are at a certain price point, and the quality control isn't there. Some of that is true. Some of that is probably a little bit over exaggerated, right? But It goes with anything. Do you get what you pay for? Yeah, a lot of times, but you also can find value for your money, right? And that comes with a lot of research. So take your time, do a lot of research, because again, budget guns are not all bad. Just like with anything, some things could have flaws, some things can, escape the quality control assembly line or whatever with some flaws or some issues or what have you. Every gun manufacturer does not hand fit every single gun. And if anything is made by a machine or a human person, it is subject to default or flaws. So no matter if it's Smith and Wesson, Glock, or no matter if it's Gerson, or I don't know, some other Turkish brand that people don't like, or Taurus or whatever, they all have uh, good pieces, or good products, and they have some products that aren't good, right? So it doesn't matter who it's from. They're all subject to the same thing. But don't be afraid to buy budget, is my point. That's one thing that I had to learn as well, and I came across that tip as well. The other thing, man, I wish I would have known before getting into it how easy it was to purchase a gun. I'm currently in the state of Georgia, but I previously lived in the state of Illinois. Actually, I'm from Chicago. Shout out to RGG. That's one of my Chicago homies. But man, it's difficult in a lot of states to get a firearm. You got to go through certain hoops, this, that, and the third. And I actually didn't have my first legal firearm until I moved to Georgia. And it's easy as hell to get a firearm in Georgia. However, you still, no matter which way you do it, wherever you do it, you still have to go through the background checks, and you got to get I suggest, even if you're not required to, because it's a constitutional carry state, depending on your state, still get your CCW, right? Your concealed carry weapons permit or license, or whatever they call it in your state. Get it. Even if you don't have to, get it. But some states make it easier to get a firearm than others. I did not know that, right? So that's it was shocking to me how in some states, Georgia being one of them, there's not a lot of hoops that you have to jump through to purchase a firearm. And most times you can purchase a firearm and leave with it the same day, within 20 minutes of filling out your FFL transfer form or what have you. Yeah, didn't know that. So it's crazy. Let's see what else. Value depreciation. Okay, this might be a sore topic for some folks, but for me, I was told at some point in my progression in purchasing guns and all of that yeah, you can use guns as what is it? You can trade them and get money for them or whatever. Like if you don't need it anymore or whatever, you can sell them and you'll get your money back and all of that. And that's false. Guns depreciate like cars. And soon as you take it from that FFL, after you pick it up, the value drops 50% in most cases. Now, if you get, a very expensive gun, a lot of times those guns hold their value, but you're not going to get 100% of what you paid for it. Now, if you get a gun that's super duper rare and it becomes out of production, right? You might be able to get more than what you originally paid for. Let's say if you bought, I don't know, something back in the 80s, and of course it's no longer in production, and now you go to try to sell it. Yeah, you could probably get more than what you paid for back then, right? Cost in general, right? So just kind of think about it from those. Don't look to get your money back if you're gonna get into this to buy and sell. I've of course bought guns. I've sold guns, and the ones that I've sold, luckily some I've actually broken even on because I've had them for so long and I sold them. But most of them that I've sold, I've actually, lost money on it, right? So, but think about it too. I heard this tip from a content creator on YouTube saying that look at, the guns that you sell the loss that you take from it, look at it the rental, the rental cost of shooting, owning that firearm, messing with it, enjoying it at the range, all of that stuff. Look at that as the loss of it as the cost of, ownership, or like if you were to lease that gun. So, right. So like this gun, I forgot how much I paid for, but you can barely find these right now. Right. So, and again, this is clear, but you can barely find these right now. And again, I mean, it's something that, if I were to sell it, I don't plan on selling this, but if I were to sell it, would I be able to, depending on where you sell it too, there's gun broker, there's your FFL, you can sell it privately. So depending on how you sell it, depends on how much money you get back from it. But don't expect to get 100%, right? No matter how you sell it, don't expect to get 100%. Don't go into selling it with that expectation, and don't go into purchasing a gun with the expectation of, oh, I can sell it and get my money back. That is a completely false expectation. So just some tips, right? Some things that I had to learn. I mean, quiet as kept the hard way. Let's see, man, what else? Laws, 2A laws, changes with the ATF. Man, the shit changes damn near every other month. There's always something new. The braces just came back in being okay, but now the ATF trying to appeal that or whatever. What else? Every year there, I mean, yeah, at the beginning of every year, you got to make sure you're staying up to date on any changes in your gun laws for your respective state, concealed carry laws, things of that such. It's work, right? Owning a firearm, being a responsible firearm owner, you have to make sure you're staying up to date with the laws, right? Because you don't want to be in jeopardy of going to jail, getting sued, or what have you, when you're carrying a firearm, and God forbid having to use said firearm as well, right? So just keep that in mind also. Stay up to date on your laws. A lot of the firearm insurance organizations like U.S. Law Shield, or what is it, USCCA or whatever, they have things within their websites, their apps or what have you, that kind of helps you helps it be easier to navigate what the changes in the laws and stuff are. But again, that's a part of the responsibility of gun ownership. You have to stay up to date on the laws. So I didn't, when I started out, I didn't think about that part, and didn't know how heavy the Second Amendment was a topic, and a concern and an issue with a lot of folks that are anti-gun versus pro-gun, and how a lot of the politics play a part in all of it too, right? So that getting into guns, and listening to other folks, and doing research, it really kind of opened my eyes in terms of, wow, this is a heavy and sensitive topic, but also a very important topic that needs to be at the top of everyone's mind when we're thinking about voting, elections, things of that such, right? Because when you think about it, the Second Amendment was put in place to protect the First Amendment, right? And you definitely want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence as citizens to uphold, our constitutional rights. So I'll stop there. But yeah, that was something that was new, getting into this journey for me. So again, I'm just kind of talking through these things as I think about them off the top of my head, like what came to mind, or what did I learn so far, 8, 9 years or whatever, in this game, right? In this gun journey game, right? Hobby, collecting, whatever you want to call it. What else? Man, keep it simple. Do not follow trends. Follow purpose, right? Understand what you're purchasing or getting a gun for, and go that route, right? And because like with anything in America and consumerism, you know, there will be trends, and just like fashion, guns are trendy, right? I think right now the big thing that's in is this is what, December 2024, the date of this or the time of this video that I'm doing. The trend right now is comps on carry guns and compact guns in full size, just comping the slide, cutting out the slide, and then comping the barrel as well. That's kind of a trend. So new guns are coming out with that. And before, like, comps are not, it's not a new thing in and of itself, but it's a new trend of itself. What's the other trend? 2011s. Everybody and their mama trying to come out with a 2011 now. And I think we're seeing a lot of the Turkish manufacturers make 2011s, and a lot of people are hating on those because they're more budget minded. Initially, you couldn't get into like a double stack 2011 or I'm sorry, a double stack 1911, aka a 2011. For historically, you had to pay upwards of like $2,000, and mostly it was just like what, a staccato, or previously known as STI. They were making those 1,700, $2,000, something like that. So, time passed, and I guess, other manufacturers cannot make it. So go figure. What else are the micro knives? The micro knives. Crazy enough, it's starting to trend in a different direction. First, there was like the P365 and the Shield Plus, or the Shield through P365, the Shield Plus, the Hellcat and the Kenic, MC, whatever. All of these little tiny micro 9mm pistols that have capacity of 10, 12, 15, 17 rounds, whatever. And now, but they're like 3-inch barrels. And for those that may be new to this, a 3-inch nine, no matter what type of gun it is, whoever makes it is going to be more difficult to shoot than, let's say, a gun like this, right? The bigger the gun, the easier it's going to shoot. Like this AR-15 this is a 5.56 223. It's going to be easier to shoot than this, right? Just because you have more points of contact. It's heavier than this, right? So the bigger the gun, the easier it is going to shoot. And adversely, the smaller the gun, the more difficult it's going to be to shoot. Considering the caliber, right? So if it was a 22, then that's a different topic or story. But yeah, don't follow trends is my point, right? I think when I got into it, what was trending at the moment? I think it was really all about compact guns, 4-inch barrels, 15 round capacity. Who can dethrone the Glock, right? Who can make the best alternative to Glock? I don't think there will always be alternatives to Glock, but there will never be a Glock killer, right? Nothing will ever cease Glock to be one of, if not the number one gun manufacturer. No, I think Smith & Wesson is the number one gun manufacturer in terms of volume. But in terms of popularity, I don't think Glock will be dethroned there. Meet me in the comments and share your thoughts there. But that's my thought. So yeah, don't follow trends, right? Because trends are going to change. They change every year like clockwork. So we'll see what 2025 holds. Let's see, man. What else? How to buy guns. When I got into it, I thought the only way you could buy a gun was at a gun store. You had to go to a gun store, and that was the only way you can buy it. Then I learned you can buy guns online. And going back to the other topic, it's pretty dang on easy. And you can get it shipped to the store and just pay the store that transfer fee and all of that stuff. So, man, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Do your research. As far as cost wise, right? You don't I 100% supporting your local businesses, right? My first several guns I actually purchased from my local FFL, of which I'm a member at. Shout out to Georgia Fireline. Um, so definitely support your local businesses, but they are in business to make a profit. They are not essentially your friend in that space. They're not going to always, or most times more than not, be able to give you a discount or beat the price of an online retailer, right? Like Bud's Gun Shop, or I purchased a lot of online guns from, what is it, Gun Zone Deals. I think that's what it's called. And what else? Battlehawk Armory. Some of the places online don't charge sales tax. Gun Zone Deals doesn't charge sales tax outside of your, because they're outside of your if they're outside of your respective state. So that may depend on what state you're in. Man, what are some other online retailers? Oh geez, Family Firearms, and a lot of these businesses are local businesses. You're just in other states and they have an online presence. My FFL actually has an online site where you can purchase gun and they will ship to your location in another state, right? So be willing and able to look online for the best price, right? And try to maximize your dollar as much as possible. Um, let's see. What else? Oh, getting into it, right? When you get into purchasing guns, it's not just buying the gun. There's accessories that go along with it. What is this? Like, damn, flashlights and red dot sights and regular sights and magazines and hand stops and this, that, and the other. They're holsters. Man, there's so much that goes after the ammo. The most important thing, it's not just the gun. So it's addictive, it's expensive, and that's just the starting point. Everything after it, cleaning supplies, um, tools to help take down the gun. Man, it's crazy, right? Yeah, so just keep in mind, for again, those new getting into it, it's not just the gun when you buy a gun. There's a lot of accessories. However, you don't have to accessorize everything. I would say, because you have to learn how to use all of those accessories along with your gun, right? So if you're gonna put a flashlight on your gun, learn how to shoot with that flashlight, learn how to manipulate the weapon and the flashlight as well. That's another training action that you'll have to do. So just keep in mind, when you're purchasing a firearm, whether it be a rifle or pistol, you can choose to accessorize it, put some sights on it. It can be tricked out sights, magnifier and red dot, or it could simply be just some flip up sights, right? But make sure you know how to utilize your weapon with the accessories that you have. And you don't have to accessorize every single weapon. For example, my everyday carry guns, I keep them stock. I typically do not run accessorized triggers in them. Some of them have a red dot on there, and other than that's it, right? A lot of people like to change out the barrels and change out the guide rods and the internals and the sights and this, that, and the other. I like to keep my stuff stock, right? I don't want to give a lawyer any type of ammunition to say that, oh, he enhanced his firearm to be able to be better at killing somebody or something. I don't know, right? I don't know what they're going to try to do in a court situation if I have to utilize my firearm in a self-defense situation, but I don't want to give them any ammunition to say that I, purposefully went out intending to do this and inflict harm. That is definitely not the case. So, I mean, others may have their thoughts and guidance. That's just mine, right? That's just my opinion. So your mileage and your reasoning may vary. So, and that's perfectly fine, but that's just my frame of thought. But again, my main point though in saying all of that, you don't have to accessorize everything. Every gun that you get, every gun that you have does not have to be equipped out in the same fashion. It can be, but it doesn't have to be, right? So take that. Um, um, with that said, I mean, there's alternatives to, like, you don't have to purchase all of the latest, greatest guns to fit every role, scenario, whatever. There's alternatives. You can get a BB gun that models your carry gun. You can get a 22 that's in the same kind of setup as your main, like, home defense gun or whatever. 22 LR, dry fire, right? It's really all about practice and what can you do to save money but maximize your practice. Now, all of those different areas or items that I just mentioned will not give you the same feeling as going to the range and shooting your actual gun. So that is going to be the best form of practice, along with taking courses and things of that such with that same gun that you plan to use for either home defense or concealed carry, or everyday carry. But there are other alternatives to help you supplement when you can't get to the range or when you can't take those training classes. Again, you can do dry fire with that same weapon. You can do, or you can get a 22 LR version, which has cheaper ammo costs, and leverage that to when you go to the range instead of having to utilize all of your 9mm ammunition. Or you can get a BB gun that really models your gun and utilize that to train in your backyard, actually, right? So and these are some things that I've done as well, right, to help supplement going to the range. Let's see. So again, quick tip, wish I would have known that going in. But then, after a while, it's like, yeah, I could just do this. And it just made sense. But again, that's another cost, but it's a cheaper cost, but it's another cost factor. Having a gun for different roles. There's your concealed carry, there's your home defense. Those are the two main items that I got into it looking for. And at first, when I went into it, I was like, well, why can't they be the same? And they can. The answer is they can. Absolutely. Right. The first two guns that I bought served dual purpose: home defense for her, home defense for him. That was really it. Right. But this is all trendy stuff right now too. Right. The micro carry being as light as possible, carrying the most rounds and all of that stuff. Or having a shotgun. Every home should have a shotgun, right? It needs to be a 12 gauge. It can't be anything else, 20 or 410 or whatever, which is false. Having what's the right home defense type of weapon? Is it a handgun? Is it a rifle? Or is it a shotgun, right? Or what? Truck guns or trunk guns. Same thing, but just different terminology. But keeping a weapon at easy access in your vehicle in case you get into whatever, right? And have to deploy said weapon aside from your pistol. Right? What else? Shit hit the fans guns. I don't know what that would be, but I guess it could all be the same thing that I just mentioned. AR, handgun, pistol, shotgun, or what have you. So I'm gonna keep it 100, right? I think all of that stuff is just media helping to perpetuate the desire to purchase guns. It's all marketing, right? That's it, and we fall victim to it all the time, right? I remember when the whole truck gun thing came about, I went in and got an AR pistol, right? Like, man, that's gonna be my truck gun or my bag gun or my trunk gun, right? Then there was backup guns, right? Two is one is none. Oh man, I need to have two guns on me at every time, right? So it's all marketing, right? To make you buy more guns. All you really need, fight me in the comments. All you really need is one, maybe two guns, whether it be a rifle, a shotgun, or a pistol. One, maybe two. My suggestion, my advice, I am by no means an expert of any, I'm just a regular dude, right? That works, has a family, all of that stuff, and take my extra money and time and buy this shit, right? One gun, right? If you really, now if you get into it and want to keep it as a hobby and start collecting, that to each his own. But if you're just looking at like, man, I want a gun. Do I have to do all of this? No, you don't. All you need is one gun. I was telling my brother this over the holidays. I was like, dude, first time gun owner, I was like, get you a Glock. I am not a Glock fan. I was like, get you a Glock. You don't need nothing else. You good. If you decide to grow from there, call me and we'll talk. But that was the advice. I told him get him a Glock 19 and go from there. But I told him go to the before he buys anything, practice, go to the range, rent it, practice, see if you like it, see how it feels. Try other guns as well. And before you purchase anything, and then make your decision from there. But yeah, all of this extra stuff or whatever, no, you don't really need it. Is it good to have like all of these tools? Like I got a whole bunch of different hammers, drills, screwdrivers, torque wrenches, and all a whole bunch of like tools. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can get, but can you, for guns, for self-defense, home defense, can you utilize just one? Absolutely. This, if I was willing to carry like what is this, about a 2.5 pound, 3 pound handgun, if I was willing to carry it for self-defense, sure. But my M&P9 that was my first purchase, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine for home defense and self-defense, concealed carry, whatever. So that leads me to my next point. There is no perfect gun. So for those new getting into it, do not chase trying to get the perfect concealed carry gun, the perfect home defense gun. There is no perfect gun because as I mentioned earlier, trends will continue to change and there's always going to be some type of new innovation, new whatever, new feature or function, but it will fall short in some way, shape, or form. There is nothing that's going to be absolutely perfect. And that kind of goes back to the whole marketing piece of we're going to try to come out with the latest and greatest Wonder 9 or a concealed carry gun or 2011 competition gun or this type of gun or that type of gun. And again, that's because nothing is going to be perfect. And companies are doing what they're supposed to do is improve upon technology and design. As we grow in this technological age, that's what's supposed to happen. But you as a consumer should not be chasing the perfect gun. Long story short. So again, advice. Because they're not going anywhere. These guns aren't going anywhere, right? There's always something new that's going to come out. Wait to see, like when something does come out, wait to see if there's going to be some issues before you buy it. See what people are saying, but don't let that sway your decision. Just let that serve as information to add to your decision-making process, right? A lot of people will say, for example, Kel-Tec. They'll say, man, Kel-Tec is a horrible brand or they lack quality and all of that. Don't let that be your only input of information that prevents you from purchasing a Kel-Tec. Go try it for yourself. Everyone gets that one sample of one, right? It might work well for them. It might not work well for you and vice versa. It may work well for you, but not work well for them. I've I have several Taurus firearms. Never had a problem with them. Never had a problem with them at all. Never had to send one back to the manufacturer for fixing or anything like that. They work flawlessly. I have a Taurus as an EDC in my EDC rotation, a G2C. Never had an issue. That is one of the most comfortable guns I have. So don't, I would say, you know, don't let the media influence your buying decision. Let it be information to serve as a reference, a frame of reference for what you do decide to buy. But at the end of the day, try it for yourself. Guns, like anything else that is made, can fail and most likely will fail at some point. At which point it does depends on, you know, the quality of the manufacturing, right? And there will be some times where, you know, can you get 10,000 rounds out of a Kel-Tec versus a Taurus versus a SIG? Will SIG get you longevity? I don't know. SIGs have had their problems too. Case in point, P320s have been in the news. The P365s have been in the news with quality issues, right? Just because it's a top tier name manufacturer does not mean that it's free from issue or defect. So again, that goes back to my point. See what issues are out there, no matter the gun, no matter the manufacturer. See what issues may arise with it. You know, and don't always look to the top gun reviewers to, you know, make your decision on. A lot of times those folks get guns directly from, you know, the manufacturer to test and evaluate T&E. Don't rely. I say check for reviews from like the smaller gun channels, and not necessarily even trying to plug myself, like myself or what have you, but those guys that are going to go out and purchase it with their own money and really just give you an honest review, right? But even sometimes that can be biased because you spending your money on it, you want it to work, right? So you have to, you know, see what the track record is with the person. Do they go to the range and shoot a lot? Or are they just a person that buys guns and shares them on YouTube, right? And the collector. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just collecting. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, just kind of understand the source of the information that you're getting and use it to your advantage as best as possible. That's really what I'm trying to get to. The couple other things, and I'll end it because we're coming up on like 40 minutes. Damn, this is the longest video I've ever done. I thank y'all for rocking with me. Getting into guns, it actually kind of changes your lifestyle. For me, when I first got into guns, actually my first gun I was like, look, I want to get a gun with a safety on it, so I can carry it safe, right? And it was really all about safety. And now it's like, I don't need a gun with a safety, right? So that whole thing just kind of evolving in that mindset. But your mindset changes, your lifestyle changes, the type of clothes that you wear changes, your awareness in society, right? Going out, that changes, right? You know, you start to pay more attention, which you should have been doing previously, but you know, I guess it's kind of a good thing. You should at least be more aware of your surroundings and, you know, making sure that you're able to spot potential threats, right? And I think for me, at least, I'll speak for myself, it brought more awareness to myself of doing that, right? Coming from Chicago, coming down to a place where I have no experience, no history, you know, around. I was, even before I even purchased a gun, I was just really in tune with like, okay, making sure I understand like where exits are in different establishments, and, you know, looking at people and being able to try to read people, so to speak, and things like that. And then even once I did purchase a gun, just kind of being aware of, you know, what type of threat and try to think through, you know, how should I respond, right? Just because somebody's talking crap or whatever, you know, doesn't mean I need to pull out my pistol and pop them, right? Nah, that's not the deal. That's not what you do. But really just kind of thinking about, again, lifestyle, how you change how you move and act and conduct yourself. All of that changes, right? So things to keep in mind. And in the last point, this whole thing is a journey, right? I mean, again, if you choose to embark upon it in terms of like getting into shooting as a hobby, collecting as a hobby, competing as a hobby, thinking about things in that sense, it's a journey, right? It's not one and done, but if it's just something that you're looking to protect yourself and your family, it could absolutely just be one and done. So like I got a buddy that I work with. He said he has one firearm locked up in a safe. That's another expense. Locked up in a safe. And that's it, right? But he's not one that he doesn't go to the range like that, right? He doesn't like shooting, but like when I got into it, I bought it for the same reason, right? Just to protect home on my person. But then I got to shooting and I started to like shooting, and I like the competition within myself to just continue to get better and better and better and better. And it just grew from there. So it's a journey, but don't always chase the new. Find the love in what you have, why you bought it in the first place. There will always, again, be something new and shiny and tactical, whatever that you want. But pace yourself. Stay in the moment and enjoy what you got, right? But again, I'm gonna cut it off here. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Keep the convo going in the comments. And in the meantime, like I always say, stay safe, keep training, keep protecting those and exercising those 2A rights. It's Mr. 945. It's your guy. I'll see y'all in the next one. All right. Peace.